Dear Chelsea, my name is Simone. I recently quit my job because I just couldn't take the toxic environment and my passions really lie elsewhere. And I'm a tarot reader slash. I have been trying to build a successful business. I sometimes feel like my husband is holding me back. Even though he says I totally support you, he's always encouraging me to get a backup job. What should I say or do to make it clear that my business is my main priority? It's 1999. It's Sunday and I'm dressed for church. Us kids spend the sermon time in the church basement where we learn about God. We learn about the duties of a wife. She is the nurturer. She bears the fruit of the marriage. She is the mother, the cook, the cleaner. She keeps the home. She stages the house for parties, raises money for charities, and spends her allowance for her husband. As it turns out, I'm one of those who will one day grow up to become a wife. And I kind of wonder if that's my only choice, but it's 1996 and I'm 6. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I like doilies though, and I like the thought of having my own children one day. I think it's probably not that bad. And I'm instructed that the husband is the leader, the breadwinner. He's the one who brings in the money. It's 2005. It's the first time I hear a kid call another kid a bitch and a slut. I was at this party, I was like 12 or 13, and I wasn't really sure what exactly the word meant, but he said she's such a slut because she was molested as a child. I just sort of laughed along because I was being handed a cigarette for the first time and I didn't want to stand out from the group. It's Thursday. We're standing outside of my kid's school waiting for the doors to open with a group of parents. We're talking about registering the kids for kindergarten, which here in Spain works on a sort of point system. You get points based on circumstances that would make you more likely to need public education for your young children. Single family parent is one of them. Large families is another. And I add violencia de género, which is when a woman has suffered violence in the home. She gets more points added to her child's dossier so that her child is more likely to get a spot at the school. If you want, I can slap you around a little bit, one of the dads says to me. Everybody laughs, and myself included. It's not that I think it's funny, it's because 13 or 33, I mostly just want to stay safe. It's Friday. I'm scrolling happily along when I come across an article titled, "What Would You Do with the Body of an Unconscious Man?" I click on that. Saw in France, 2020 to 2024. Giselle Pellicote's husband is apprehended in a storm for filming up-the-skirt shots of women shopping for groceries. As part of his arrest, they also look at his computer, hard drive, phone, and other electronic devices, and what they found on them would horrify even the most trusting of wives. Turns out he had been systematically drugging her over several decades while she was blacked out. He raped her and invited 51 other men to also come over to his house to rape his unconscious wife. Giselle decides to make her court case public. 51 men are found guilty. Their daughter, Giselle Darian, writes a book and she calls it Et je sais de t'appeler papa. I stopped calling you dad. It's Monday and my boss pulls me out of class and he says, "Why didn't you give these students their scores before you return them to me?" "Stupid little woman," he says, as if I can't hear him. He's not really saying it. He lets out an incredulous sigh. "Stupid little woman," it says. "She doesn't even know how to do her job," replies his chuckle. He looks around the office as if there might be someone there to high-five him. It's not going to be me. 2023, I'm 30, and I've defaulted on my Parent Plus line. My father is incensed. He says, "Don't you know how banks work, Simone?" What I want to say is, yes, I know how banks work. Do you know how minimum wage works? Do you know how the U.S. government targeted children to take on massive amounts of debt so they could have recurring profits at the expense of American people for decades to come? I want to say all that, and I want to say, it's not my fault. I'm trying. I would never do anything to hurt you. I want to say that I love you. I want to say that why can't you see me? But I don't have the words for that. It's Tuesday and my boss pulls me out of class again. "What's up with time this week?" Each time it's because I've done something the wrong way. The kids are laughing too loudly. The activities I've done aren't the right ones or in the right order. Ben was questioning every step of each activity that I prepared for the students. taking on this job part-time so I can make sure we have our bills paid while I work on building my tarot business, but I don't really need it. Not really. I'm just scared I won't be able to pay my bills without a man. But this time I have leverage. I have money, which means I have a little bit of freedom. So I turned to him and I said, you know what? I don't think this is working out. It doesn't seem like you're happy with my work. I'm not sure how I would make the money to support my family, but my hope is a dangerous thing. And even more dangerous, a woman with money. He backs down. He starts to leave me alone. I've been a teacher for over a decade, and I know how to do my job. It's Thursday. We're filming Dear Chelsea. Catherine, the producer, met with me on Zoom and was so incredibly kind. The actual call was only a few minutes long, but Chelsea pretty much hit the nail on the head. How much are you making in your business right now? I was like, a few hundred per month. Was fun enough. They asked me a few more questions. Kevin, her guest, Kevin came. Thank you. You were so lovely and kind. And then the crux of it all kind of comes out. I hadn't really expected it to be this thing. I thought it was going to be more about communicating with my husband, but it wasn't. I mentioned that I actually give a lot of readings away for free. She said, that's your problem. Okay. Then instructed me to write an email to my list, thanking those who were there and letting everyone know, due to demand, I decided to start doing exclusively paid readings. Send me that email when you're done, she said. And I definitely did just that later that night. I sent it, and the truth is, I was ready. Kevin said he would share it with his wife, thank you, who is also a tarot reader, and Catherine suggested a book called You're Badass at Making Money by Jen Sinclair, which I coincidentally had on my nightstand. It was sitting on my bookshelf, but now I finished reading it. It was on my nightstand for only a few days. And after I sent that email, I got a notification that I got a sale right away. 2 people responded to congratulate me and even welcomed 2 new subscribers to my list. Thank you, Catherine, Chelsea, Kevin, and everyone else who worked together to get that episode out. Those 5 minutes meant a lot to me. It's Sunday today. I no longer go to church. I no longer pray to the Christian God. I am a tarot reader. I am ready. I will no longer bear anybody's fruit except my own. I will no longer give away my time and effort for free. I will plan parties, and I will pay for them. I'm ready to lift the veil. The virginal woman in white no longer. I'm marrying a new version of myself. A sluttier virgin. A bitchier version. And this bitch charges money for her tarot readings.